Hello! I am here! I know, you haven't seen me on... I mean, I've had content put out the last several days, but it's been, obviously, the weekend events, protest rallies, and you've all seen I put a lot of photos in the post section, but, oh, it's Monday, and I'm just like... about noon, and I'm just now starting to recover, I mean, I am 62, and the weather clearly has changed. I mean, we went from summer to fall just a few weeks back. And suddenly it's like gotten really cold since the weekend. So you've seen all my protest stuff. You've seen stuff I've gotten. I put up stuff that weren't mine, but other people's, and then also people that I knew that their stuff, but they didn't go to either one. I went to two rallies on Saturday. The first was Morristown, New Jersey, and the second was Denville, New Jersey. Now, JBL from the Bulwark was at the Denville one. Tiny little red dot in blue, New Jersey. I mean, Denville is red. We just there was a decent turnout last protest before this past one. I went to that one, but it was like 2,000 people this time. The inflatables. I mean, the thing is, see, Jersey. This time, they staggered the time, since most protests are about an hour and a half to 2 hours long from the time they start till the time they're officially wrapping up. And it takes a half hour so for everybody to get out and everything. But some people did a trifecta, because there was one in Madison, New Jersey. That was like in the morning, like 9 or something like that. The Morristown one was 11 to 12:30, and then the Denville one was 2 to 3:30. So some people did the trifecta: early in the morning, Madison, then to Morristown, grab some lunch, then to Morristown, then to Denville. We waited to all the speeches, the music, all that was gone. And we just left a little early. The gal that was getting me, because I had a protest buddy, that she only goes to the main protests. She's a librarian, she's very sweet. But she also is like a caregiver to family members and stuff. So she can't do anything except the main protest, and it's like one, because she's gone. You might be a 2-hour protest, but you got to figure an hour either way of your time, because you're getting ready, you have to drive, parking, because they're getting huge. There were over 7 million. There were somewhere between 7 and 8. I think it's close to the 7, but it was like 7.2 million or something like that came out. What did we get? 4 or 5 million last time? 4 million, I think. But you've seen stuff from me, but I also, like I said, so some people that I know or that are in my group, see, because I'm in Visibility Brigade. There's Visibility Brigade in general is all of the chapters. But each state has their own chapters. And each state also, excuse me, has their own sections. So like I'm divided by the county. Okay, so I would be considered the Visibility Brigade Essex Morris type of thing for New Jersey. So there's at least, and if they're in the Visibility Brigade, they are absolutely the people that do the pedestrian overpasses at rush hour. And you'll see them popping up at other places too at rush hour now, because we're expanding our message. We really pissed off. Y'all see that AI generated thing Donald was all furious about on Saturday. It's like, oh, the more he saw about the protest, I mean, just raging from early morning to like late afternoon. And he did this. He had a crown. He was a fighter pilot in his jet with a crown on. And he goes over to I think it was Sisson and the protesters there. He's a YouTube creator. And he like flies over and he just drops a bunch of shit out of his plane onto all the protesters. Oh, that's not the protesters, that's Donnie. I don't know who it was this morning. But I saw somebody did an AI video clip of Donald in his cockpit, just like he had an AI do, with his eagle, a bald eagle comes flying in. And he craps on his head as he sits on it. You want to shit on the American protesters? Well, America herself is shitting on you, Donald. Oh my God, it was hilarious.
Trump and Republicans make a huge miscalculation.
No. Yes, they did. Sorry. I didn't have the light on and my computer went to sleep and I was watching Brian Tyler Cohen. And I had to get this out before I started laughing too much with him because Donald has been having a fit. Oh my God, did we piss him off? And I think the fact that we were having so much fucking fun and so much joy and out there in the public saying, we don't fucking want you, get out. You're a criminal, you're a rapist, you're a pedophile, Donald. No. And he has been so furious. I also hear that particular organizations and such are preparing to, let's just say, accuse people of murder like Hegseth, Bondi, all this stuff. Which they are, because all of this is against the Constitution. I just keep thinking posse comitatus, and I have to make some sort of sign. Posse comitatus. Because who was it that had said he's at a hearing or somebody said something, and he said pussy comitatus. It's P-O-S-S-E, posse. Oh my God. And the reason I'm saying that is because I have that big giant cat inflatable costume. Grab him by the posse comitatus. Another sign I was going to have on it, or maybe just mark on it. Go ahead, Donald. Grab these claws. Go ahead, Donald. Just grab these claws. Something to that effect of, claws come out when you just grab us. Yeah. Go ahead, grab us. We have claws. I dare you. Oh my God. But while I went to the first one. Now I'm getting back to it. So I call her my protest buddy because she drives and she's willing to pick me up and it's not even in my neighborhood she lives. And so I go to whichever protest she's going to. But I really wanted to try to challenge myself. Now, y'all know that I have the bad wrist. You've seen me with the brace on. I have a bad foot from being literally crushed about 20 years ago in a car accident. Literally crushed. And the doctor even said the fact that you can even walk 10 minutes at a time before getting off of it for a minute or two, he says, because the fact that you can even put weight on it, I'm astounded. It was just every bone in that foot. You know how many foot bones you got? Just like hands. Tiny little bones. He said out of all of them, they were all had some damage to them except 4. Just 4 were fine. When they use words like pulverized or bone dust. Sorry. Wow. That was traumatic. That was obviously a trauma because that just brought up exactly how I felt. When I was sitting on the table after about 2 weeks, they had to take the soft cast off, take the stitches out, and then put the hard cast on. And he got the soft cast off, got the stitches out. 5 different areas of the foot. And your foot skin is thin. And one of them is right across the top. And I tried to I put my legs straight. And he walked down to the, like looking up at the table to see about how straight they are. And he said, get your legs normally and how you would normally hold them straight. And he says, what do you think? And I'm like, it actually called it the Frankenfoot. And I started to cry. And I said, well, it looks fucking horrible to me, but you're the surgeon. You tell me what you think. Then he goes, well, it's almost straight. Sorry, I haven't talked about that in a very long time, and I don't talk about it often, so I was not ready for myself to be triggered like that, so I apologize. But it took a long time for me to even grocery shop with an electric cart because it was just that dignity that and I'd want to just be like everybody else, but when you shop for like the month for the basic, I would be in even worse chronic pain for at least 2-3 days. Foot would swell so much. When something gets so stretched, it gets shiny, your skin. My whole foot would look like that. I mean, I wouldn't even have, when I set my foot down, it was so swollen on the bottom times that you can't even, your toes aren't hitting the ground because there's so much swelling, on the arch of your foot and the ball of your foot. Well, you're not even, your toes, when you stand up, don't even touch the fucking ground. Yeah, so all that shit, you have to learn to cope with it and deal with it and accept it. So, I had to finally give up that part of the pride and do grocery and shopping in an electric cart because I don't want to be out for the count for the rest of the day just because I did shopping for a few hours. So, that was a personal challenge to me, and I didn't have anything scheduled today, tomorrow, just to be sure. I could move around easily yesterday, but man, I was bone tired. It wasn't like, oh, I can't stand or anything. And I think part of that is going to the weekly, when I can, visibility bridge events, because you're doing a lot of twisting for the different directions of the car. That does a lot of work for some of that core stuff, you know. And if you're doing a little dance or something, I'm starting to build that up a little bit in ways that I'm not as much, because even if I'm sitting on my walker, I'm still doing stuff, and I'm still like, woo, kicking with my leg or something, you know. Waving a big flag takes a lot of, you know, control, especially if it's a little windy. Try it sometime. It doesn't look like you're doing anything but standing there with a flag, or when they marching in the parade, when you're marching with a banner or something like that, or letter. Everybody has letters, and you have to stay together in the same stride, because so it makes the word right, correctly, it's visible. All of that takes a lot more energy than a lot of you who maybe never even tried doing something like that. It takes a lot of coordination, and you have to be like, everybody else has to be at the same pace. Yeah, it takes a lot of coordination and time and practice to give the visual performance that you're aiming for whatever event you're doing. So, and even just holding a sign, holding stuff up, you know, it is, it takes a lot of, more, let's put it this way, more than you think. And after, yesterday on this Signal chat, it was hilarious. All the people in the costumes, especially those that were like 40 and above, they were all in the inflatable costumes. One of them, he's like, my kids are laughing at me. That cat he has a cat like mine, but with no claws. And there's no purple in the ears. He says, that cat costume wiped my ass out. Whipped it. We were laughing, and somebody else was like, yeah, me too. The unicorns, that we had one unicorn. I think there was a few dinosaurs. One was riding a chicken. That was just our visibility group. One was riding a blue dinosaur. I think he was with our group. He was hanging with us all the time. Oh my God, we had so many, just from our visibility brigade. And we had the visibility brigade, the black with the white letters banner. Those gals stood the whole time. They traded off a couple, just holding the banner, each holding a side, so everybody saw, this is us. And we did that because there have been a lot of people that were like, we went to the side and by the flower garden, by the flower beds, so we weren't like taking up that big bed, you know, with nobody. We weren't in the way. And we did that because a lot of people came over. Some of the members have button makers. And I didn't even get one. I'm like, oh my God, we were all so busy. I was doing that performance thing, you know, where I'd just sit like this with my inner bonnet, with the outer wings, and then the hood up. And I would just sit like this. You saw some of the pictures with that bag, the utility bag they wear. And I would just sit like this or stand like this, with all that stuff, you know, almost so it's very shaded face. And occasionally, I'd slip on my anonymous mask underneath the bonnet and the wings. And sometimes I had the hood down and the wings, the stiff wing headpiece on, and I would just have the soft inner side bonnet that they'd wear, you know. And it was just, I was doing performance in certain areas where I was just, you know, just let the outfit speak for itself. Let the sign. And my sign, I think you've seen it. I wear it clipped on there. One clip got messed up, but that's fine. And it's just it says shame. And then I've got 3 shells with red, white, and blue. And then the white, I took white like white paint. Like it was obscuring most of them. And then I wrote under the shame. It was it's a black canvas, and it says shame, and then whitewashed. And so when I put the anonymous mask on underneath the head cloak of the Handmaid, it's in the post. I got a lot of people being like, oh, because they'd see the Handmaid. I saw pictures. There was one other person, but she just had a red, like you tie it here, kind of bright red cape, and the hood up. But I mean, I don't know if I mean, you know what I was saying. It wasn't even a full cloak. It was just like a cape, kind of. Like those bright red Halloween costume things. They're not the accurate, but you could get the idea, of what she was trying to say, very clearly now. But anyway, we were in that area, and plus I with the walker, I don't want to be in the main way of things where people are going to be, where I'm going to be in their way. But she came over while I was sitting, because sometimes I would stand, sometimes I would sit. I also knew I was going to another protest, so I knew I was better not blow it all here because, but she gave this to me. And I was like, oh, she said it's a $5 like a gift certificate that you can use in any of these businesses in Morristown. I'm like, it's like some elite, some group that they do a gift for you. Hang on. Morristown, New Jersey org. Just, and she said to me, she goes, that's a good costume. She goes, she goes, I've seen this series and it's completely accurate. I said, I know, she goes, that bag is exactly what they wear. I was like, I know, it took me 3 months to find it. She goes, well, I want to give you this. And I'm like, I mean, I've got people in the inflatables and all around me and awesome stuff, And she was like, that was really good. She goes, and I see you have a walker. She goes, we just want to say we appreciate you doing this. I'm like, thank you. I said, I'm catching a ride. I'm going to Denver. She goes, really? I said, yeah. She's like, huh. She goes, well, it looks great. She says, thank you. And she just left. I'm like, interesting. That was not something I expected. Now, in the Signal chat last night, I hadn't mentioned anything and about that, and she said somebody had mentioned something about somebody offered money for for protesting. It was less than 20, and we're all like, what? She goes, yeah. She goes, two of us we were kind of talking after, because there was another one with them, and she says, we were wondering if they were trying to, like, if that was like, how they had Proud Boys and stuff like that. There were reports in South Jersey that they will be there, and in some places they set up like a throne and they all sat with crowns and robes. They were Trumpers, and they were saying. She said we were discussing if they were trying to do like a sting thing and then be like, we saw they were taking money. But that's not even if they did, let me just, first of all, we don't know, but none of us did. But the whole point is you're getting paid before you protest would be a paid protester. You put in the energy, the time, and effort, and going to a protest, what's the point of paying you? That's stupid. That's how they're thinking. They have been so desperate. And they were thinking, yeah, but probably not. But then another person, about an hour later, when they got on, they were like, I had someone offer me money too. And then about 20 minutes later, somebody else piped up and he was like, I did too. I was like, oh, everybody was like, oh, well, maybe there was somebody, maybe not with the official, like Republicans doing it, like the Proud Boys or something like that are sanctioned by us, A-OK, with MAGA. And maybe it was somebody doing their own little looking for their moment of their 15 minutes, you know, when they break the video of numerous people at the protest accepting money. That doesn't even make any sense because they're already at the protest. That's stupid. Obviously, it wasn't set up prior, and being a paid protester means it's set up prior to you doing the activity that gets the money. And then I showed them this. I took a shot and showed them all the sections. I was like, I got this. What is this something? And everybody was like, oh, no, that's legit. Yeah, well, that was cool. No, I know that organization. They're fine. I was like, okay, so I could use it if I wanted to, and not. They said, oh yeah. So I'm like, okay. Okay, so I was like, and I totally forgot about it. I popped it in my bag, you know, and I was like going about my business because I got my flag with the telescoping flagpole and my box of 4-inch paper clips I was giving to anybody that wanted. Digging through and finding out my 4 power banks that I bring in case an inflatable or a phone from somebody or myself needs extra power, especially when you're going to more than one. And I'm taking extra C batteries for my megaphone. So I totally forgot it was even in there. I actually forgot it was even in there. And then so we had to leave after all that stuff was done. It was probably maybe 20 minutes before everybody started breaking up, but the gal that was taking me from Morristown to Denville, she was bringing her son, who's never been to one, and an adult son, and she had us help set up the Denville. So it takes some time. They have table where we have supplies. People chip in and donate money, and we have the supplies to make your own sign, or somebody can make you a sign, or they have a bunch of signs that members have made or other people have made, but they leave it with us. Somebody else can borrow a sign. Somebody else can improve a sign, make it dark, whatever, and help you borrow it. We're trying to make it very easy, even for somebody who I don't have the time, I don't have the money to buy stuff to make a sign. You know what? We'll have signs there. You can make one, or you can get one that's already made. No effort. Just grab a sign and get online out there and grab a spot, you know? And that makes people not feel as stressed. I carry my butterfly wings. It's just a collar thing, you know, a little Velcro thing, and then you put the little hands. You've probably seen it on one of my Halloween videos. And I bring that in what I call my bag with all the stuff I mentioned, because I have a green nylon bag that I keep that stuff in. I carry a lot of stuff. Plus I have a bag with a dozen signs. Some of them are 3. That's my gear. That's the materials for my job right now. So we had to get there early. Those cops, they decided to put up a barrier where we normally stand, so we had to stand on the sidewalk, but that made it so we were interfering people. Plus I had a road, one of the lanes out of the 3 blocked off. I'm like, they were just being jerks. They said they heard how many. We had 8,000 at the first one I was talking about, where the speeches were. This tiny red dot in a blue ocean of a town, it's a small town, and it wasn't even on their main street or something. It was on a side street by the park. 2,000 people. And people were they kept crossing the roads in groups of them. So there was activities, because making up for having that one side blocked. There was no need to have it blocked. There was no need. Nobody stepped into the road or caused a problem last time. They were, let's put this, they were grudgingly, fine, have another one here. We started a few weeks ago at their pedestrian bridge in Denville. And so, yeah, tiny little red Denvilles getting shaken up a little bit. They ain't never seen us before. They ain't never seen nothing like inflatable unicorns and dinosaurs and cats and people riding inflatable chickens out there making music and bubble machines for a cause. That's not like every day there. But we're making it every day. So anyway, so I got there very, very early. And I sat where there was a break in it, and I wasn't really paying attention because my foot was already starting to hurt. And I had a lot of shit to get set up. And working in that cape is very cumbersome. Let me just tell you that. And the cape I have, the cloak, it's not like I was saying, those Halloween ones, they're lighter colored than the bright red ones. They don't come all the way down to the ground. These ones are like a lot more money. Well, not a lot, but they're linen, actual heavy linen, stiff linen. And it has sleeves that are attached so you can slip in. So this part is out, but it's under the cloak. So it looks like you have a dress on. And I wear a red bodysuit, like a jumpsuit over it, underneath. So you have that red continuity. It's a little brighter red than the dark red, but of the cape. But it definitely, plus, if you did see it or didn't see it, you'd know what they call the wings is that white, that stiff white part that you put under the hood. Sometimes I have the hood down. But there's another bonnet that's worn too. It's a soft bonnet and it's got wings, but it's not as hard and they're not as big because they have to wear coverings even when they're indoors. So this is like a soft bonnet. And you will be able to see because you have to work in it and stuff. So the outfit is typically not just the cloak, the cape, it's more like a cloak. Not only that, but it's not attached. So where your arms come through, so it's like a panel and there's a slit on either side where your arms come through. That's why you need the sleeve so it looks, and wearing something red. I've seen people actually in the Handmaid's Brigade wearing those cape things and just something that even looks close, gives you the idea. But then you have, the full-on authentic type ones. The only thing not authentic is the boots, the little bootlets, and but I have to wear Arthur shoes anyway. And it's that I'm not wearing the dress. It was a long sleeved, long dress. But anyway, so other than the dress and the shoes, I mean, mine's very authentic looking. It's got all the pieces it should, all the correct pieces. And I'm not saying that in a gloaty way. I'm just saying I worked hard to get the money working the elections last time in June. And it's a lot of effort to be looking, ordering stuff, because when you don't have a vehicle easily, you can't just hop around looking for a particular thing. You got to spend time online, looking around, trying to find it that's not $40, So it did take some time to put together. So it's appreciated when somebody who's seen the series, says something like that. And more than anything, I want it very accurate, because the more accurate it is, the bigger impact it seems to make. Because I've seen comments on different people, and the ones that have the darker robe or the more, I think I've only seen one or two with the bag. Those are hard to find. Because they're not in fashion. I've seen people definitely making comments about the more authentic, the more accurate ones to the series. And they've said the same thing. That's why when I decided to get what I knew I wasn't just going to go for the $25 Halloween costume. outfit. Because if I was going to commit to something like that, then I'm going to do it correctly. And that's just the way I am. I mean, and no, I don't have the money to do that. I did without for a month or two so I could save it. Yeah, it means that much to me. Yeah, it does. That's what this cause means to me. So anyway, I was early at Denville. I got to the break. I didn't realize that that was the entrance to the park. It just wasn't, I mean, it was clearly, but I was thrown off because I knew where I thought would be a good place because I have several signs that stand up that would be really cool. But when we got there, that's the area that was blocked off. And the barrier was all along. I'm like, and I didn't want to stand there because nobody's going to see the Handmaiden and wearing the freaking outfit. It's to be seen so you remind people about it, you know? Not to look at me, to look at the outfit and what the outfit represents. And that's why I'm always like, I need to be seen when I'm in that. And it's not because I want to be seen in it. It's because I want it to be seen. So if somebody else was in the head, I would be like, they should be over sitting like where everybody can see them. That just makes sense. It didn't matter who's in it. But somebody was, as they were crossing the street, people to get into the park area or to that side, because there was down the hill, there was in the grass, there was the gazebo and all this. They had buttons. Some of our, like I said, some of our group has button makers. Some of the Lantern League that usually does Denville stuff has a button maker. And I had like 6 different kinds of buttons they were handing out. I was handing out 4-inch paper clips if anybody wanted. So many people came across and were like, "Can I take a picture?" I'm like, "Yeah, as long as there's no traffic, you know." And it worked because there was no traffic coming this way. That's what was blocked off. I was at the corner, kind of the 3-way. And some people asked. Some people, of course, if you're into that, you're going to expect to be videoed or photographed. Expect it. If you don't want it, cover your face. Cover with just a mask, whatever, you know. Kids were in Halloween costumes. Dogs were in costumes. Dogs had signs. Babies, their carriages had signs. Donald's a bigger baby than I am. Oh my God. It was hilarious, people. It was fun. Bubble making, guitars, music. At Denville, there was a national anthem. One person was coming through. She was an organizer for one of the groups that was there. And people were giving away, you know, handheld flags. So everybody, to show we love America. This is not a hate America thing. The groups were doing everything. Same thing with the buttons. It wasn't aggressive. It was uplifting or encouragement, not against something but for someone type of thing. Just like no dictators, no names, you know. And there was the Bulwark was there. He even said he didn't interview anybody. So where I was, he didn't do a lot of filming because he stopped right. Yeah. But yeah, he was surprised too. But anyway, a bunch of people cross, and then like a minute later, somebody taps me on the shoulder. It was one of the gals. You could tell she was wearing the shirt. She goes, "Would you like this?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "We're giving them to people." I was like, "Yeah." It's a garden flag, and it's one of the both kind ones. So I'm going to put that onto one of them this week. Because I actually have garden flags. They're a little bleached out too. So I got 2 cool things for going to the protest rallies. You know, you all that follow me know I do this because I believe in the cause. And I don't want all of your kids and grandkids, because I won't have grandkids. But I'm still fighting for everybody else's grandkids. And I don't need thanks. Because if you do it, something that your conscience and your gut compel you to do, just quieting that is all the thanks you need. But when I get that from somebody like these 2 different ways, they're stupid little things, but sometimes they come at the right time for the right people, and it was very exhausting. It was exhausting for me. But I kind of took it as the little, I did the correct thing, because look at that. It was just kind of a compromise, because I was battling with myself. Am I being very stupid to try to do 2 of them at once? Am I really that stupid, knowing that I don't have transportation? So if it's too much, I'm starting to feel like over doing it. I can't just say I want to go home. You know what I mean? Because there's other people. They might not be able to leave right now. So I was really taking a leap of faith in myself for that. That I knew myself enough. And I was being honest about my limitations. And apparently I was, because my foot never swelled up to shiny. Yeah, you know what I'm thinking, don't you? I wonder if the next ones I can manage to do 2 or maybe 3. Yeah. Yeah, I am thinking that today. I know, you're insane. Yeah. Yeah, I am. But, yeah. Tell me about your stuff. Did you see anything really wow or really cool or really like, oh my? I do know that there were arrests across the country. Not a shitload of them, but they were all MAGA. Counter protesters. And to all my fellow protesters, awesome job, guys. We all peaceful. All are preparing, all our little workshops to make sure everybody knew about de-escalation, about proper responses or the best responses for peace pushing. If they go this way, and first they were saying, everybody, you should sit down if they're, so, but then people are like, no, sitting is not good if they're going to use chemical agents, because people that are mobility like me and her son might not be able to move as quickly. You're not as mobile when you're sitting. Plus gases, things like that settle in time. So if you're sitting, you're gonna really get a dose of it eventually. But the suggestions are, do not just sit down. Just do not move. Stop moving. And when you move together as a group. You kind of like pass it around. It's like, we're all going to go just... And we watch till it gets to the end. Somebody gives it... We're just going to kind of like... All of us kind of move a little down this way. And a little later, just a little more down this. That kind of thing. If it's possible. If there's an escape route where you can distance the entire event a little. But you need to have those beforehand. For de-escalation also. if you're going to respond, when and when not to, your body language. See, a lot of this stuff I did learn when I worked in the corrections, in the prisons as an officer. So look at that. That came in handy decades later. Woohoo! But yeah, the only arrests, the only issues were Republicans. My. So let me hear some of your stuff if you saw anything really amazing or really like, oh, wow. I want to hear what you guys had to experience Saturday. Tell me what area. You don't have to tell me the town, but just tell me the state. Tell me what you did. I would love to see the cool stuff. And I'd like to see if there was any counter protesters. I'd like to see. I've only seen a few clips of things, so I'm just curious, at what level they're willing to go with our protests to try to shut us up. I'm just wondering at what level their rage is in real time when faced with an event. So if you have an experience, let me know. And until I see you again, see, I made up for the several days I didn't talk by talking for a freaking hour. It probably is an hour. Have a great day. And see, you were wondering when I'd make a video of information, and now you're like, just shut up, Judi. I hear you. Oh, Raspy's perfect. He is a feisty boy again. Another reason why I'm so like, peace out, guys.